What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and yeah, we're gonna do a quick little short box office prediction for Firestarter. That's dropping this Friday, and yeah, we're just gonna talk about it a little bit, and also we're gonna talk about Doctor Strange 2. And see what it's going to do on week 2 of that film. So let's go ahead and get started. Of course, we're on Box Office Pro, where all the movie fans go. By the way, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and click that like button. Help this little video get its way around YouTube and let everybody kind of view it. And then also, if you haven't done so and you like the videos that I put out, there is a subscribe button just over there. Go ahead and click that. That way you'll get notified of all the videos that I do when they drop. A lot of new subscribers are coming in, and I definitely appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and talk about Firestarter. All right, so let's look at the pros and cons as we always do. I think one of the biggest pros, just right off the bat, is the fact that this thing is produced by Blumhouse. If you're a horror fan, you know that Blumhouse has just really done a great job with making a lot of small horror movies for us to kind of digest year in and year out. So yeah, I'm happy that Blumhouse and Universal Pictures kind of tag teamed for this thing. So the first pro, of course, it says it's a remake of the original cult classic, which helped propel Drew Barrymore into star status. I think a lot of fans of that film are going to come out and try to see what this thing is. And it also says, Stephen King, his own brand, has been seeing a big resurgence on the big screen. I remember last year, or actually 3 years ago, before the pandemic, we had 2 Stephen King films come out, Pet Sematary and Dr. Sleep. This year, we're going to have Firestarter and Salem's Lot. So a couple of Stephen King films dropping in theaters this year as well. So yeah, I like Stephen King. I think he does a good job with his storytelling, and I'm interested to kind of see where they went with this. I watched this original film a million times, and so I'm looking forward to that. Second one, horror has been one of the more consistent draws during the pandemic recovery era, and this will be the first technically of that genre to hit cinemas this summer, right? Because technically Doctor Strange could be considered a horror film, but it is, more of a Marvel comic book action film. And so yeah, you have a horror film coming to theaters, in the summer. That's going to bring a lot of people, so that's good. And then of course Zac Efron being the leading man in this, that could also boost appeal to the female audiences, who generally are the main drivers of horror films. All right, so the cons, and of course the number one con is it's opening 1 week after Doctor Strange. Obviously that's going to cut into this thing by a whole lot. Like I was saying last week on the box office breakdown, Firestarter coming out, they say, hey, look, nothing else is out this week. There are going to be people that have already seen Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is, kind of getting shaky. We're going to talk about that. They're kind of getting shaky reviews and audience scores. So how much repeat traffic are you going to see? Folks might be wanting to say, what else is out here? I already saw Sonic. I already saw Fantastic Beasts. Oh, okay, we got a new movie. Hey, let's go check out the new movie. There are people, I'm kind of one of those people, that go out and just see the movie that's new that week. So I think that'll help, but it's also going to hurt again if people haven't seen Doctor Strange. They're going to pile in there and watch that. Early social reactions to trailers and marketing materials are modest. Very true. I sat in a theater full of people at a horror movie, no less, and people were just kind of sitting there just with their hands folded in their lap while this movie, while this trailer previewed. And I was kind of sitting there like, oh wow, Firestarter, this is interesting. I'm looking around the theater, and the person that was with me also said, hey, nobody really seems to be interested in this film. I was like, yeah, it doesn't look like it. So I think in this situation, they haven't done a lot of marketing. They haven't done a great job with the marketing that they did do. So that's gonna hurt it somewhat. It's modestly, it says it's modeling Below the Invisible Man, which was a really, really good horror film, made a lot of money. And then more comparable to the same year's Fantasy Island, which was a horrible horror movie. So yeah, you don't want to be comparable to that whatsoever. And then it says horror reboots, of course, have a mixed history at the box office, and the availability of this film at home for free to Peacock subscribers on the same day won't do it any favors, and it absolutely will not. I'm kind of curious as to why Universal made that decision, because it just seems weird. Okay, Firestarter is a movie that, if you have it on your Peacock streaming service, it's not like that's a draw for people. It's not like people are like, holy crap, You mean they got Firestarter on Peacock? Oh yeah, I gotta subscribe now. Nobody's going to say that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to say that. Leave this thing in theaters, let it do its 45 to 60 day run, and then pull it out and put it on Peacock. That's what I would have done. But in any case, let's go ahead, check out the numbers. Let's see what this thing is gonna do overall. All right, and here we go for the make it or break it. And as you can see, once again, question marks. We don't know what the budget is. I'm assuming this thing has got to be somewhere in the $20 million range. I would be absolutely shocked if it is more than that. This simple movie does not need to have a $40 million budget, even a $30 million budget. A $20 million or under budget is what I'm expecting. But we'll hold off and talk about that when the movie and the box office information and the budget numbers come out. We'll talk about it then. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and check out the comparison film. And then for the comparison film, I went ahead and used the Stephen King adaptation of Pet Sematary, again, that came out in 2019. And this is what it did in its opening week. So it did $10 million Friday, 20 million or 24 million on its opening weekend, domestic total $54 million, and then 113 worldwide. And then there's my projections for Firestarter. 5 on Friday, 11 on the opening weekend, domestic total overall of 35 million, and then a worldwide of $50 million. So if this film is somewhere in the range of 20 million, maybe even less than that, it shouldn't have any problem making its money back. I think it's going to do enough money domestically. And yeah, like I said, it's a horror film. It's the first horror film of the summer. So it should do decently in its opening weekend. It should do a decent run throughout the rest of the summer, as long as it's in theaters. But yeah, the Peacock issue, I think that if you didn't have it on Peacock, you could probably tack on another, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to $15 million for this film. But in any case, that's my prediction for Firestarter. Let's go ahead and talk about Doctor Strange, and let's see what we think it's going to do in week number 2. All right, and let's take a look at Doctor Strange. So far, okay, this is up to date as of tonight, $507 million worldwide. Already made its budget back like I said it would. It would probably handle that sometime during the week, and it did. And so now it's like, okay, what are we going to see for the upcoming weekend? How much of a drop is this film going to get? Now, this film is getting very, very mixed reviews. Even though you look at, Rotten Tomatoes and it says, 74%. That's pretty good, actually. But it's the audience score that's most important when it comes to the box office. The critics are the critics. And anytime you see this thing drop below 90%, it should at least light up a little bit of a red flag. There's enough people that are saying, not really feeling this, okay? And as we know, it also got a B+ cinema score. So a B+ cinema score is not a good score at all. And so there's mixed reviews about this film. So how's it going to do next weekend? Well, I'm going to do a couple of little quick comparisons to a couple of other MCU movies. The first one I'm going to start off with is Spider-Man No Way Home. All right, so let's take a look and see what did it do in its second weekend, right? So original weekend, 260 million, of course, amazing numbers. But then its second weekend, a huge drop off, 67.5%. Now, you got to keep in mind that 67.5% drop is big, but when you did 260 million in the opening weekend, yeah, it was going to be big. And then, of course, it had smaller drops throughout. This is all of your repeat traffic coming back again and again. You can see here in February, it's only having a small, like less than a % drop. So different circumstances for this film. Now let's also compare it to Shang-Chi. So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, what was its second weekend? Okay, so you see here the domestic weekend, September 10 through 12, it had a 54% drop. And I'm thinking that's probably close to what Doctor Strange is going to do, because, a lot of people did go out and see this film, and there is some divisiveness with it. I think it's going to be on the higher end of the 50s, probably 55 to 59% drop. That's my guesstimation. If you have a 55% drop over the $187 million that it made in its opening week, that's about $80 million. Or 85, let's say $85 million that's fine. I don't think Marvel will be too upset with making $85 million this weekend for Doctor Strange, yeah, especially when you consider that, yeah, right now it's sitting at 507. If we could tack on another 85 million domestically plus whatever we're getting on the worldwide, we're probably going to be well past the $600 million mark and maybe even close to $700 million already in the second week. That would be incredible numbers for this particular film. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. Those are just my quick thoughts about what I think the box office is going to do this week. Folks, if you have any predictions, I'd love to read them. Go ahead and give me an opening weekend, go ahead and give me an opening night, an opening weekend, a worldwide total, a domestic total, and a worldwide total for Firestarter, and then give me the percent drop that you think Doctor Strange is going to have this week. But in any case, thank you for watching once again. If you haven't done so already, I would love a subscription. Really appreciate all of you guys that have subscribed. And if you haven't, just go ahead and click that like button. It's right over there, and that helps me get all of my videos around so more people can watch. All right, folks, I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.